Amir, here we are, my friend.
Hello, Sinuhé. How are you?
Great to be here, man. I mean,
Yeah,
this
same.
is we're gonna kind of like covering what the year has been like for you.
Mm-hmm.
You particular is a special one to me because I had a hand in all
Yeah,
of this with you.
yeah, right, right,
I'm
right.
gonna be I don't know what to call myself. The
Brother.
Godfather? No,
Your godfather,
no, no, no.
okay. So we went
But no,
parental on here
but
now. Love it, love it.
I
Wow.
had I encouraged him to apply
Yeah,
to the residency. You had started to paint, so it wasn't like painting was a big part of you yet.
yeah,
But
no.
you were a great thinker, and then you were
Thank you.
passionate, and I knew that a period like this, giving yourself time to really paint would really help you
Mm-hmm.
elaborate
Mm-hmm.
this idea. And I think it's been amazing, from the outside. I think
Thank
from
you.
the person that started to the person now, the work has really transformed.
Thank you, thank
It
you.
has really blossomed.
Yeah.
So because I had a similar experience, not to this, but in the sense where I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and when I got here, it was something completely. What
Mm-hmm.
happened?
Mm-hmm.
What happened within the space was beyond what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been for you?
I mean, first I want to say this story was really, it was the first time I got introduced to Maitland was Sinuhé's exhibition. And Sinuhé, I met him and he encouraged me to talk to Dan. But I met Dan during your exhibition. And kind of when I walked in here, I was definitely like mesmerized in a way. And there was a very personal story too that I kind of felt, I told my friends, I felt I was confused whether I saw this place in a dream or not. I talked to Jen O'Malley, I was like, I feel like I walked with Shabnam, my former lover, here, or was it in a dream? But then eventually I ended up here, and again, thanks to you. Yeah, so what was the question?
The question was during how do you describe this experience during this year? Sometimes we create expectancies of what's going to happen, and but life happens and it's something completely different.
Yeah.
Has your experience in any way was what you thought that it would be?
You know, I'm going to start from a very weird angle. Kurt Vonnegut. There is a book, Kurt Vonnegut.
Okay.
There's a book, Slaughterhouse Number 5, that the guy experiences time out of sequence. And it's kind of a story about writing, to me at least. And how I would describe this year in the same flavor of Kurt Vonnegut is by what I realized past year. It kind of changes the history,
Right.
It's tempting for me to describe a biography of what happened, just like 1 month by month or whatever. But this place for me is in kind of the context of living, coming to a new place, whether it's traveling from another country to here, whether going to this institution and so on. And ended up in Maitland, very unexpectedly, Like I never expected to be an artist, really,
Right.
So actually, fantastic enough, like 7 years ago, I think, it's been more than that, 2018. I told my professor, Hassan Fourouche, that's like, it's like, what is this career? 2 years from now, I might be an artist. I don't know. And I became an artist. Like, if Hassan hears this, he would love it. But this place, you know how to describe the process? You can go analytical and describe the history, or when you're describing the love and the beauty around, I feel it's only poetry that can describe it.
I agree with you. I think the Maitland, the history of Maitland is a history of small miracles, of small miracles that happen every year with the artists.
Yeah.
Like right now, seeing Carlos, almost coming to the end of it, and I see him.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. I mean, like my hair stands up. It's like, I love to see that,
Yeah, yeah.
You kind of started early. It was blossoming early, and And I thought, like, when you did this piece right here, I thought, oh my God, he made that step. Boom,
Yeah,
he got there. But then from there to here is like another step.
You
and
know
then the
what
one that I'm seeing outside
yeah,
is like another step.
yeah,
And so it's for me, I say this is not, and I will ask you, like, what are your plans to go on further and everything else. But I think just this discovery alone,
yeah,
it's in itself the gift,
Yes, yes. It's, like, to respond to that, like the stages of like elaboration of someone. This is not what you're referring to. I feel that's what you're referring to.
Like a spring.
Yeah.
Like you're living a spring.
Yeah, and it comes with these hurdles in the path, Like last year I went through, what is called a lot, and it's like there's details to it, and the details of how to face the a lot, and but when you go, when you mentioned about the change when I entered Maitland, that on the physical part of it was that for whatever motion that pushed me, whatever motion, the time, that subtle push that is always there in time, I had to face faith, having faith.
Or fate.
And
or fate too.
Fate, the destiny, and faith, because fate is up to someone else's hands,
right?
And faith is something you have as the treasure, as a thing within, The only thing you own behind time is faith in being,
right? But just a small parenthesis.
Bible.
I don't want to interrupt you, but
but
isn't it like a lot of these beautiful things that happen to us that you stop and you look back and say, how did this happen?
How did this?
I didn't plan this.
Yeah, if I knew.
So that's why I say it's fate. So something is pushing you.
Yeah.
Something is pushing you.
I mean, the easiest thing is time. You cannot stop time.
Right,
very amazingly. Yeah. We can go fast as light, let's say, but it's like to stay still is also a challenge, know? So it's the face like two impossibilities: being immediately everywhere or just being stopping the motion. So there is a subtle push, and to have faith in what's pushing and have faith in being. Being is that thing. So when I came here, I didn't know back then. I didn't know why I'm painting. Actually, why am I in a museum? Really, it's like as if like I was in a place like forgotten my memories. Like I was in research, and now I'm like, I don't know, in front of canvas, and it's like people call me artist. It's such a new word, But putting the time inside, because I was in a way, I don't know why, I don't know why, as if I was forced to stay in the studio and paint. This time was for morning.
Right.
And morning, when I always painted after coming from the company and so on, like 6 p.m. to like 12 or 2. But in the morning, the first item, after the first coffee or tea, like when the fresh, and the light of the day. And the faith inside was that there was a lot of questions about it, because the thought was from people who were concerned because of the love toward me. That what if this path is another hobby? What if it's a hobby? What if you're sacrificing something? But then, like, there's Maitland Museum, right?
These are good questions, right?
Am
I spending my time in the wrong place?
It's you can look at it. I was telling Danny yesterday. You can think of it as the architecture and corners of buildings, or you can think of it as a place of beauty, or you can look at the beauty that is walking in the gardens. Sometimes I wrote a poem, which I love to read at some point, is that I wonder why when I asked for wisdom, Dan would appear out of nowhere. And with his New York thing, would tell me something so unrelated, but going back in my solitude, it was actually related.
Right.
So I always thought of, for
Like the
example,
fairy godmother, who just kind of
exactly. So
he just shows up whenever you
Maitland
need
is
him.
like this. Like, I don't know how many institutions are in the world. I haven't been around the world and everything. I mean, Marco Polo can answer this, but this place that I found, like, the stories that live hidden within each person that I met, as if it's like when I see Danny, Dan, Peter walks in, you, Carlos, you know, how did we find each other? Jazz is here, you know?
Yeah.
You're just behind the camera, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like there's a sort of wisdom around, you know? And when I enter in each of like the dialogues, I can reflect on it on layers. I can reflect on it on English language and its knowledge, and this thing was that, or going inside of my own psyche or self, and then there's wisdom being depart.
Can I tell you how I kind of see it?
Yeah, tell me.
Well, I see it. My experience is you're living the experience of, like, when I see you in your element here, I see the experience of the painter, of my experience, and it's beautiful in a sense because it's like you discovering this world, and his question is that why can't this be the world?
Yeah.
And this is not the world. We still have to go out and figure out how the world
Yeah,
works.
call it. It's like, why Bank of America tries to contact me? It's like, I
Doesn't
wonder.
he know I'm
You know,
painting?
like,
Do they not know I'm painting? Why are they bothering
it's not
me?
just so. I'm like thinking, it's like, what is the system that is like tries to make sense of the world, and it's like kind of a you know, it's a numerical system.
Yeah.
It's a map of cements and irons and
Yeah.
this kind of things, and but what is missing is inside. What is alive inside? You know?
Yeah.
You know, I was in research of
And
numbers, right?
Correct.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, this money in the account and everything is a technology, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's not. I mean, of course, everybody knows it's not the meaning itself, but why Bank of America bothers me this much? You know, that was my question. So I raised it actually in the museum. It's like, so what is this thing that's like so needy? So needy that needs to contact you every day with new offers, with this, you're, I don't know, like the idea of negative money is very interesting to me. It's like basically the system decided that you are of no value, actually your counter value to be.
Well,
and
that's why art is
I
revolutionary.
Huh?
That's why art is revolutionary. Because it's this experience where you sit, you find yourself and you realize it's okay. This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is where I need to be.
Yeah.
This is where my thought flows, and the rest is some sort of map that they've been made for you that you have to you fit in awkwardly. You know.
Yeah.
And,
art as the heart.
Right, as the heart.
As the heart. It's, you know, the question of what is art, and like this is a kind of past due question, you know, in a way, because we're at the fringes of like technology, and it's like you go in self-research, it's like, so what's the new question we want to even answer? We're running out of questions, in a way, except question of being, you know, that question still shines, but then as a researcher, it's like, oh my God, everybody's working on everything that's available, and we don't even have to needs, and we have to cook up needs,
right?
You know, this kind of things. And now the arts, I mean, from
making everything so comfortable so you don't do anything.
Yeah, it's like what? It's like you want to. Now we are bored with Earth and Moon, and it's like let's go to Mars and let's have like AI running around because we watched the TV show that sounded cool. And so there's the kind of like this ask for meaning, right?
Yeah.
And what is meaning? Meaning is inside of alive, right? Alive. And alive, inside of that technology of description, is described as biology, as this ask for survival. For what? Trillion years. For what? Are you going to be bored in those trillion years? Yeah. I always say, who's going to give you a medal for survival of a species? I say to Darwin. I say, you know, that kind of thing. Now, the art being at the heart. And meaning like, you know, there is this thing about the lips being sealed, you know, the interior what people call feeling or, mysticism. This vote of yes to being, where does the vote of yes to being, not as an obligation, to the answer of the Shakespearean question, to be or not to, the vote of yes to being, I think that's the heart. And the art, the heart, the hearth, what keeps all warm. I would suggest to myself when I'm like, when Bank of America calls me, it's like I am this close to jump inside and start swimming in absurdity, an ocean of rocks and feelings. Oh, I'm swimming, Just my suggestion is reflection on that. Because the numerical valuation follows what is our current response to the question of being.
Right. For me, the painting or discovering this process, it's a language beyond what we've known.
Yeah.
And then you can create your own personal language.
Yeah.
And that language of sitting with your music and you getting lost in yourself. And all we have is a snapshot. It's a painting that ends at the end.
Yeah. But time is embedded inside.
That's all within that time. But then how do you communicate within that world?
Yeah.
And you start finding people, how do we spend time in that space? How do we all coexist in that space?
And sometimes you're being communicated with, you know what I mean? So it's like, you mentioned a very good point about the thing that appears. Because, like at the end, like you go out this door and you walk and you have like an attitude of motion in something kind of psychedelic called empty space. It is not a thing to be granted. Like there is actually empty space. There is this mechanism of the hand moving along these pixels changing. It's kind of like magic in a way, right? And then you go behind the canvas. Time is experienced. And you move and something appears. Same with music, And it's not out of the design rationale. It's like in the mistakes of the painter, in the vagueness. In the vagueness, the alive lives inside of that. And then that becomes, to me, it's like, although it's like infinitesimal or small compared to this grandness of, I don't know, in New York or this city, and these cities are going and a shuttle goes to the moon. It's a small thing, but it tells of the essence of a life, the essence of hearing within your own actions what the wind brings, and then communicating or telling or becoming the wind to another. You know what I mean? So at the end, this painting is from, if I bring it under an X-ray, a scientist goes behind, it's like, oh, you didn't bring anything new. It's called this molecule and this atom on this molecule on this atom with a spread that is, there's many...
That's how we explain love. It's a hormone that gets here.
Exactly, that duality of the description. I'm a human with bones and everything.
Well, I have
Oil on canvas.
I have been kind of like a personal analysis of myself that I've been doing, because I work with the ceramics, and the ceramics sort of informs what I want to be painting later. And I see with you that you get lost, and it's just like this volumes that you're playing with.
Yeah.
And the more that I think about that, the more that I feel like our mind constantly betrays us. And what we find is a place where we trust our body. Yeah. We're allowing, and we're like working out of the body, the sensations, the memories that the body has, and not the mind. Yeah. The mind is a trick. Yeah. The mind is a computer. This is a machine. This is the human part. This is a machine.
Yeah.
This is the human part.
The brain.
The brain, yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's, you know what I think of this? Like, I think like, you can kind of dissect it into three things, but it's actually, I think it's one or two. I don't know, numbers are irrelevant in this, but it's like there's the canvas, which is perception. It's emptiness. It's the size of the scene that you're seeing, right? Yeah. And then there's a computer for sure. It talks in discretes, in 26 letters on 26 letters, A, B, C, D, F, G, and compose this geometric things with hard edges. This is A and not B. It's not, there's no between the A and B. While the sound of it, so uncountable ways of saying A. You know, every time it's new. So the reason is inside of the word, the mathematics. Mathematics, true, false, and so on. That's the brain, the computation. And then there's the, you know, I always, the joke is like, à la résistance, à la existence. And then I was like, why resistance back then? À la romance, à la existence. It's not this thing, like in the flavoring of the experience, you know, the feeling of it. So it's like, this multiplicities, as if you have a palette and there's all these colors. And the colors, you go and you do whatever these actions of the hands are, and many images can appear. But the fact that there is a canvas, the fact that there's on a surface called the perspective, it appears.
Yeah.
You know, the same perspective of a room, painted differently, that room would look like, I don't know, a vault or a prison, or, you know, it's the same veil, you know, with different coloration.
Yeah.
I don't know if I make sense, but it's kind
I mean, I don't know. I
I
just had this image of you saying that, and it's a canvas, and you building a world as if the world stopped.
Yeah.
And you're just building a world, forgetting that there's a real world over there, and somehow you can go through that canvas and and come through the other side.
And the attitude toward it, because, you know, at the end, every painter, they go, again, the oil on canvas or a painting.
Yeah.
The finality or the process, you know? The lived experience, what do you say to yourself when you're painting? What sort of prayers you pray for? Because you're doing a prayer. And then every painter, they pray that this painting is meaningful to them, right?
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine any other ways. I paint something that is innately is going to be absurd. I can't imagine it. So there's a prayer involved. And that's an attitude toward being, toward our own action. The action of me, you know, like I go day to day, I go to Wawa. Back then, when I came to America, I would memorize what I would say to the Wawa, because I'm like, I don't know what to say. So I would say, oh, can I get a pack of this? You know, and I would repeat it in my head. And in the painting, I realized I never know what I'm gonna say in the Wawa. I never, you know, like as much as I know, I'm at the boundary of the unknown of me.
Right.
You know, the sentences that is coming now, I have no idea what's gonna happen here, you know?
Right. Yeah. And what a beautiful place to place yourself there again, right?
Exactly. So it's like there is a romance there, there's a tragedy there, there is, you know, the palette is full. All means all. So it's just a well composition of it, to make sense of it. So, you know, it's called dramatic arts. You know, in the pantheon, you might have wars too. You know, but to make sense, to make a good story out of it. If the wars happen, it's like, okay, it's one of the colors. It doesn't have to dominate entirety of existence, you know, in terms of, oh yeah, I'm sorry for mocking some certain thoughts. It's like survival of the species. We need to compete so we can become that, as a theory of some dude, which I know those researchers sitting in a room and it's like, okay, so what's the proposal I can think of? And it's a competition becoming, okay, competition is fine in a chessboard.
Yeah.
You know, amongst lovers, competition. You know?
Right. So let me ask you, how are you feeling post-residency? Like, this has been sort of like a dream that you've been here, but eventually, how do you see yourself transferring and maintaining? I mean, you have a studio at home, so you still have your studio to be working in. But how do you see what do you see is happening with this experience that you had in the post residency?
You know, in the flavor of previous conversations, I don't know. You know, but something that is coming along is it feels like my past experience in research was not for nothing, you know.
Right.
And the company and everything. I had a startup company with my twin brother, Essa, which I owe a lot to him. The question is kind of, I'm aiming, you know, first I want to preface it with this, is that at best what I can do is reporting a vision, at best. The work in the field, to plow the field, is dependent on my ability and my capabilities. The vision, in a way, on a personal level, is to travel the way back on where I came from. You know, coming again from Orlando to Tehran. But the path to go back, it might travel through other cities, you know? And what I would bring as a souvenir might not look like a box.
Yeah, I love
you know,
that.
it might not even possibly fit in 10,000 suitcases,
Right.
let's just say.
Yes.
Yeah. So it looks like what is seen right now by me, what is proposed to me these days, it looks like a place of a cultural proposal. And a very small institution and everything. It's not for sure, but I like that placement because, you know, throughout the years, more than what I gathered was a lot of wise friends, you know, and there's wisdom in places that I never expected, really. And not to just promote the friends or the individual, but what I learned about finding wisdom, you know, to kind of make sense of our composition culturally. You know, like right now these days, Iran and USA are at war. You know, it's not something that nobody knows. You open the news,
Everybody knows.
Yeah, it's like, I know it's a hard concept, but the question why the war is there, I think the corridor that arts can create is not there.
Right.
A corridor, really. And
Just
corridor that's under the radars of technology we travel through, you know? And arts, it's artfully living, you know? Like, I was fortunate enough for magical reasons, you know, in a way, and it helps of others, you know, really, truly, to have a glimpse of a freedom of mind, you know, to have, in a sense, faith in freedom. And certain people are fortunate because of that, and we need to make that abundant.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
And promoting a sense of which cannot be done by me or you. It's a network of people. It's a lot of people to, in their locality, realize harmony, understand harmony. Then we can talk about globality. You know, I, as one vote amongst 8 billion, I vote for this. And not just to promote idealism. I love idealism as like visions of utopia, however it is. However impossible. So I don't know who presented this. I really want to talk to the dude. Who presented this idea that this is utopic thing?
Right.
This is, of course.
Utopic is like saying forever happy. That sounds boring.
Yeah. It's like, no, but it's like there's also a way of like degrading this idealistic view. It's like, let's examine our heavens. If our heavens are at war, then in the ideal, I always say Harry Potter cannot help you if your ideal is at war. Let's imagine, let's compose well in the heavens, then our hands go in plowing the field. You know, it's a question of like, I'm sorry if I'm derailing from the conversation, but you know, in science, sometimes my experience is that we want to find Big Bang or this or that. And you ask the simplest question, for what? And I know there is no answer. I mean, Douglas Adams says 42. I love this answer, 42. 42. And what's the meaning of life? 42.
Right.
40. What's the question? How many ways? The cooked up question. The question is the importance. But it's like for what?
Right.
And that's the
I like that
idea.
42 is 42 means it's always going to be wrong, regardless of what I
42
think.
is actually in that story is the correct answer. But the question, it requires another computer to think for 1 trillion years to
Right,
hook up the
right.
question. You know? So in science, we build this technology tools means to an unknown end.
Yeah.
You know, in the basics of, and that's where the place of arts and philosophy and poetry is.
Yeah.
It's like toward where? If I sacrifice beauty because of the tool, the hammer,
Yeah.
where the hammer was to build this place,
Yeah.
not this place for the hammer.
Yeah.
You know, the building contains us alive. The building houses a squirrel, you know, a tree, an oak tree surrounds it. Not that these are for the building. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the proposal, you know, at the end, I'm an investigator, you know, like that's what I was trained in, however the genre is, and reports what I find. So post this, I'm gonna exactly continue this, you know, reporting what is experienced and investigating even romantically what is life, you know.
I mean, what you said there is like so beautiful. I want to like capture it on a quote, which was
my
right?
mother would feel very proud of me if I be quoted.
And it's also,
you know,
but it's,
I'm sorry.
but it's also the immigrant experience that it's poetic for me. If what I take from here is where am I taking that to, and where I like to take that to, which be eventually back to Tehran. And that process, how I get there, and what I'm taking with me, I can't possibly. It's not a little box, and it's not something I can put in 100 boxes. I love that. That's
you
like
know, I'm gonna say, so you know, when I was in research, I always dreamt of Nobel Prize. Okay, I was like that was the vision, imagination.
Right.
I was like to kind of like give myself gifts of imagination. But now I'm realizing what you said is my Nobel Prize. If a quote of mine ends up in the family group chats that they send cheesy quotes to each other, my mother and the family, if it ends up there with, I don't know, a cheesy gif or something worse, that's my Nobel Prize, you know? Being in the cheesiest family group chats. You know?
I mean that, and finding the mental freedom, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're here to learn. That's our purpose. It's just learning, you know. And on the heavens, I say, you know, they say in heaven as on heaven on earth as it is in heaven. It means that we're supposed to build heaven here.
Yeah.
This is our world. The rest we don't know.
Yeah.
It's what kind of world do we build here?
You know, very interesting. The here, you know, this is something philosophical. It's like at the end, I'm seeing from my eye. You know,
right?
If a dragon is
like
behind,
your true eye, it's like naked. It's like taking veils away. To get to you.
Yeah, it's like so. Like reflecting on that is that if there's a dragon behind that door that I cannot ever in time possibly open that door, simply the dragon does not exist to me if I'm not affected for eternity, right?
Yeah.
So there is a sense of locality and globality, universality in terms of self. Self is in seeing, in observation, but there's the other. You know, inside of this planet, this home, this room, in a canvas is the microcosm for expanse of a universe.
Right.
There is a question of astrophysics. There's the question of the neuroscience. This inside, from a biology, and that outside, kind of match in the complexity.
Right.
You know, so there's the centrality of the self and this vicinity. If there's a tournament of existence, if there's actually a tournament and an Olympics office out in above the heavens, you know, it's like there's a tournament, it's like you're signed in for this and so on, who's the winner, whatever.
Yeah.
All assure is around here.
Yeah.
It's in the vicinity. To a friend is a god in pantheon. A lover is the goddess, you know? all the stories coming to sense.
I always remember when I started to paint, I had my close friend was my roommate. And I would tell him that I see different. He was like, "You don't see. You see like I see. We have the same eyes."
Yeah.
And I wish I could answer him now, because the reality now, especially what happens with science and all the technology that we built, is to create homogeneous views of everything. It's all making it all the same.
Yeah.
And what we have is that I see different than you. We are all one of a kind.
Yeah.
One of one.
Yeah.
It is one of one vision constantly.
Yeah. That's very compositional.
Yeah.
Right? We compose.
But we keep thinking of we're all the same.
Yeah.
And we build systems to be the same because it's easier to control and to understand. But the key is to get to how different we all are.
Yeah. You know, that's the beauty of, I think, one of the beautiful things about the Greek pantheon, or these stories of goddesses and gods inside of mythologies around India, Iran, Egypt, and so on. It's this kind of colorful drama of being in terms of,
right.
I would say the breeze comes in as they softly breathe. Right. You know, the breeze is there. And it's just this composition. It's not all Zeus around. It's not all Dionysus around. Right, you know? Yeah. It's a compositional thing. And in a way, it's a picture. I mean, there's the Uno, the idea of the being the canvas. Yeah. There's the coloration. There's the gods, and got the titans, the primordial, and then the gods. But it's a good drama. Yeah. You know, I call it the soap opera of theology. Yeah. I love the soap opera. Yeah, you know, so they go to wars, they fall in love with each other, and it's resolution to that certain colors are these days abundance. Right. And I would say in my try for being humble, but I think the intensity of them can be distasteful. You know, it's a type of red. And I think it's departing from that compositional value, that all these goddesses and gods were different, and that was the beauty of pantheon. They never wanted to be all Zeus. Right. You know? Yeah. Dionysus has so much power over Zeus, because if you make Zeus pour wine for Zeus, you have his ears.
It's like like that joke of the body. I love that. Anyway, on the last note, any message to the future residents coming through?
Future residents? I think patience is very good, but I actually have one. You know, it's again within my limited sight so far, as I don't know what's the clock in this moment so far, is to, you know, before coming, I always give a lengthier answer, but before coming to the museum, I said, like, if there's a brick to move in this museum, I'm ready to lift up my, you know, sleeves and put the brick here. Because work around it. To participate into bringing the arts to the heart of people. You know, there's careers that are the system. The system is understandable why the system is there. It tries to rationally, the job is to rationalize. Yeah. There's the bureaucracy, application, response, resume. What's a good resume? AI generated resume. All of this is the system. If we can take one tiny step at a time to bring the poetry back, bring the poetry of being back to this place. This place is, I'm telling everyone, this is the dream of every researcher, going back in the Athens, going back to those days that there was freedom. There was freedom of thought.
I was saying in the previous resident I was talking to, we were saying like the history of Maitland is really the history of these small miracles that happen every time here.
Yeah.
Because these are small miracles that.
Yeah, if we can bring that thought back by the help of everyone, you know, it's like, even like sometimes competition is concerned because It's a theory, it's an ideology competition.
It's also what the time needs. We're in a time of more thinking, more philosophy.
Yeah, but composition as opposed to competition. So it's like trying to compose. No, like I'm leaving Maitland, and always Maitland will be on my mind.
Composition
Always.
as opposed to compensation.
Com-
That's what you said?
competition.
Oh.
Yeah, composition versus competition. So it's like if I leave Maitland, if I go to another city, it's not that I'm not in Maitland Museum. I'm very much in Maitland Museum. I'm still in the office of my professor Hassan Furush. I still think about it. I'm still in front of George Atiyah. I'm still in the classroom of Zohar Nashe. And Jason Swanson and still talks to me about
and I will be there for you
and so on. Yeah, so I'm still in Maitland. I still see Dan everywhere. If I go to New York or that place or whatever the location that asks for me to be there, I am in the same business forever to put any brick that is needed to be moved around to do that. And that's what I would suggest actually as just like a being that has hands and his mouth moves, and this is what I can recommend so far.
I love that.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Oh, cheers to that. Oh my God, cheers. Salamati.
Salam Nabi.